Here we are back again, and this time we're going to be looking at straightening up a crooked shot. So in the files that I put in, the files for fixing or photos for fixing, if we scroll down there we can see we've got one named crooked shot. So let's just double click on that and see what we can do with that. You'll notice as it opens up in Photoshop here that it is rather skewed. I've already got the crop tool selected there, so if you're on one of the other tools there, just click on the crop tool here or type C on the keyboard to get the tool. And the default is that it'll show, as soon as I start moving with this tool, it'll show the rule of thirds. Now the rule of thirds says that you should have your information, all the interesting information on the image on the intersection points of where the lines cross there, but this one's not going to quite fit that. But what we might do is change this view default to the grid so we can better see when we've got this image straight. And the technique we're going to use is we're just going to move our mouse around until we get down to one of the corners and it comes up with the little two-headed arrow there, which indicates that I can actually twist this image around. Now the interesting thing here is that the grid stays stable and the image actually rotates. So if I move that there and just move that image down a little bit to see whether or not that's pretty good, I think. I might just turn it just a fraction more, and you can see how that's pretty much straightened that up. But now we need to actually get the image positioned within that same crop box there, and double click, or we can either double click inside the crop box or use this little tick up here to say yes, we'll commit to that. And as soon as I do that, it crops the image. Actually, I've left a little bit of a white area down there, but we could easily fix that up with either the clone tool or just cropping a little bit more. And I can move the edges of the crop box in slightly, so I'll just move that up fractionally and double click again, and we've lost that little problem there. And you can see that everything's looking pretty straight now. The other interesting thing is that if you're trying to set up for a photograph for printing, then it automatically crops to preset sizes here. You can actually create a new preset as well, but you can have an 8x10 or a 5x7 or 5x4, and notice it's saying here that will be set to 300 pixels an inch, which is the recommended resolution for prints, so that you get a really high quality print. Right now we're also on unconstrained, but you can tell it you need to keep the original ratio, or there's a whole lot of other ratios you can use there. Or you can actually type in the values here. So if I wanted 8 inches by 10 inches, I can go 8 inches by 10. Oh, it's telling me it's invalid. If I put IN, it'll accept that, I think. Oh, I've got a Chinese keyboard going again. I've got this endless problem with this Chinese keyboard. Okay, so there's inches, and in this place here I can put in the 10 inches, and then that's going to create an image that is actually 8x10, and obviously it's the wrong way around, so I'll need to just turn that the other way around. And you can see how much of the image I would lose by printing an 8x10, but that's just the reality of sticking with the size that the printers can print, which is often quite different from the size that your camera will capture. So 8x10 inches is not a ratio of 3:2, which is what most of your digital cameras will be capturing photos with. Anyway, that's something we've just got to deal with there. Another thing that should be discussed at this point is that when you actually rotate an image, the software has to recalculate all those pixels that you had originally, because they're no longer in the positions they were in, and you're actually degrading your image every time you do a crop, so you wouldn't want to do it any more than once. And again, it's always best to have the maximum resolution image you can to start with, so that as you crop down, you're not going to be losing too much data and be at a big disadvantage. So that's the cropping tool, and you can see it's a pretty simple kind of a tool to use. That'll be the end of that video.